Hey Cedar Park homeowners, I'm Eric Peterson, the owner and listing broker of Kopa Real Estate with our monthly Cedar Park real estate market update. And in this video, I'm going to cover the most recent real estate statistics for Cedar Park, Texas, and talk about what I've been seeing in the real estate market over the last 30 days that you should know about if you're planning on making a move. And if you are planning on making a move, be sure to sign up for one of our upcoming in-person home selling seminars or online webinars where I'm going to explain everything that you need to know about the home selling process so you can position yourself for a successful sale, whether you're ready next month or next year. Sign up today. We've got multiple days and times coming up. Sign up at copaseminar.com. All right, let's get into the statistics for Cedar Park. And there were 68 homes sold in August 2025. That was down 2.9%. Median sales price was $425,000, and the average sales price was $512,000. Median days on the market was up 14 days to 40 days on the market, so that's pretty significant in 1 month. And looking at the original list price to close price, it was at 94.4% of the original price. Year to date, we've had 931 new listings, and that's up 10.6%. And the number of homes that have gone under contract was 574. And that's why we're still looking at about 35% higher number of homes on the market than last year. And in my opinion, that's probably the most important real estate statistic going forward into the rest of this year in 2026. You know, the reality is the market's pretty tough right now, but I don't want to come across as being like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh and always talking about the bad things, because I'm shooting this on September 4th, and we've already had two listings that have gone under contract on Labor Day and then on September 3rd. So we are still selling houses still at good prices, but you do need a little bit different plan than maybe a couple of years ago. And one of the reasons why we're still selling homes, though, is because I'm giving people the real information that you need to know. No fluff. I'm not sugarcoating anything. So that's really important. It can be very attractive to talk to a real estate agent who's only telling you the good news, maybe about your house or about the market overall. But we're seeing right now 60 to 100 homes not selling overall. And in a large part, that's because those people just weren't being told the truth by the real estate agent that they hired. So you don't want to wind up in that situation. One of the big questions, of course, people have been asking me at our home selling seminars, and even when they call me about listing their house, is, should I list my house this year? Should I wait until next year? And of course, I don't have a crystal ball. We've been in a declining real estate market for about 3 years now. And so that's always been a kind of a losing bet for the last 3 years. We don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. We don't know what's going to happen necessarily with the inventory of homes for sale. We don't know what's going to happen with the jobs market. But what I can point to is two groups that do forecasting, Zillow and this Reventure app. Both of them are predicting that home prices will be lower next year. And so it's very hard for me to tell somebody that you should hold off on selling your house. Particularly, I typically am selling homes for people who are selling their home or putting their home on the market for a reason. And they're ready to move on to something else, right? Maybe they're ready to downsize, or maybe they're relocating, whatever the case is. So they're not necessarily selling their house for fun. And in those situations, I'm really recommending people get their house on the market right away. Remember that last year, September, October, November, we were selling homes for higher prices than people got when they put their home on the market this spring. And you would have been better off putting your house on the market on January 2nd than waiting until May 15th this year. I don't know if that's going to happen again next year, but certainly the trends and looking at the inventory levels would point in that direction. And because the forecasts are coming out and saying that, it'd be hard for me to tell somebody casually, oh yeah, just hold off and wait. But if you're ready to talk about your situation, we're selling homes right now. We don't need you to sell your house right now, though. And so if you just want to talk to me with no strings attached, feel free to contact me, and we'll kind of run through what the data looks like and what your situation looks like, and maybe I can give you a little bit better personal advice about your situation. We do have a little bit of good news in the mortgage market, though. As of today, September 4th, interest rates, mortgage rates are at an 11-month low. So we're now under 6.5%. Of course, I'm not a mortgage lender, but this is from Mortgage News Daily averages. And a couple reasons for that. Of course, we've been talking about inflation for a long time, and that's what makes the headlines. But the Federal Reserve has, the chairman has been talking more about the jobs market, and there has been some data that's come out showing that the job market is becoming softer. All you have to do is talk to somebody, who might be worried about losing their job, or somebody who's been looking for work, and understanding that there's the data, but there's also real life. And for those people, certainly the job market does seem like it is softer. So this is the unfortunate thing about mortgage rates, and even what the Fed is going to do is that it probably is going to require more softness in the job market, not even so much inflation, but just that job market to get mortgage rates lower. And so it does seem like we're going in that direction. So the consensus now is that the Fed's going to cut rates in September. That's one extra time than what was expected. Now, that's already been built into the mortgage rates. And of course, the Fed doesn't directly control mortgage interest rates. It's really more the 10-year Treasury yield that is more tied to the rates. There's a spread there, and that spread has been coming down as well a little bit. So that's what's caused some of the mortgage rates to come down. We still don't have anybody that is forecasting tremendous drops in mortgage rates through the end of next year. Fannie Mae just came out and was predicting 6.1% through the end of next year. Who knows? Everybody has been way off on their forecasts about mortgages in the past 3 years. So we'll see. But it does look like at least we're getting things going in that right direction. And perhaps that momentum causes some buyers to get off the fence. Only time will tell, right? I don't know what's going to happen with home sale prices, though, going into next year. I'd love to hear your opinion. Leave me a comment and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more local real estate information. And finally, I feel like I should talk about this almost on a monthly basis. I got a call from somebody who moved out of state and they rented their house for 2 years, and the property manager has just put it up for rent again for a third time. It's been on the market for about 30 days. And fortunately, it didn't rent, right? The rental market is not particularly good right now. And so it hadn't rented. And it's the reason why it's good news is that that person contacted me. They were referred by a friend, and I helped them sell a rental property as well a couple months ago. And when we talked about it, he had no idea about the capital gains exclusion and how that worked. You remember, if you've lived in the house for 2 of the previous 5 years, you should qualify for a $250,000 per person capital gains exclusion. So that's $500,000 for a couple. And he had no idea about that. What would have happened is if he had rented the house, he would have lost that exclusion because he would have been after 3 years in order trying to sell the house. And of course you say, well, he could still rent it with a tenant in there, but property like that is probably going to sell for 10% below what it should if there's a tenant in the property, because you can really only sell it to an investor, at least at the beginning of a lease. So the good news is that I was connected with this person before it was too late, and now we're going to put that home on the market. Now, I'm encouraging anybody, especially there's so many what we call accidental landlords, people that moved and maybe they thought the market wasn't good and they decided to put the house up for rent instead of selling it. You really have to remember that you've got this tax bomb that's going off, because that is really, for his situation, what he told me is that his capital gains tax rate is 20%. Plus, he's going to have a 3.8%, what's kind of called the Obamacare tax that comes out of it. And then on top of that, he moved to a state that has a state income tax. And so you say, well, what does that matter? Well, if you're selling the house and you're in a different state, but the property is here in Texas, the state that's collecting state income tax is going to collect taxes from you. So fortunately, he's not going to owe taxes on any of that because we're going to get the property sold. But that would have been almost 30% capital gains tax on his gain, and he's got about $250,000 in equity in it right now. So that would have been a huge amount. So if you've got any questions about that, I think that's a big deal. If you got any questions about that, or the market in general, or what you should do with a property, contact me today. I'm happy to talk to you. Again, no strings attached. We're not going to push you into doing anything that you don't want to do with your property. Thanks so much for watching. We appreciate your support and make it a great day.